The sun's coming up, drinks are hot, and now it's time for our first cup. Today, tools, part 1. Recently I've been reflecting on growing up blue collar and having a lot of blue collar experience under my belt before I became a white collar worker, a knowledge worker, before I went to academia and did the whole PhD program thing. Been thinking a lot about what my work in the past can do to inform my work, my strategy, my tactics in the present. For instance, there's this one job in Arizona City that I did with my dad. It sticks out. Now, back when I was doing this job with my old man, Arizona City was essentially just kind of some subdevelopments and some strip malls dripped on the desert about 40-ish miles south of Phoenix. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot out there. And on this particular day, my dad and I were going down to swap out a dead air conditioner for one of my dad's clients, right? Now, if you've never swapped out an air conditioner before, there's actually some logistical planning that has to go into it, right? Like if you've ever seen a air conditioning unit, whether it's part of a split system or a package unit, you'll see that they're big things, right? And generally you need a crane to lift up the old unit, drop in the new one nice and easy, right? Other than that, you also need to get the logistics of deliveries and other sorts of stuff going on, right? Usually a technician will bring the tools, their truck, and their assistant, right? Now, all that is not usually a big deal, right? But you got to make sure it's really on point when you're going 40 miles outside the city and there's nothing else out there. So, it's a bit before 7 a.m. My dad and I are at the job site. We're doing some last-minute measurements to make sure everything's going to fit perfectly. And we find out that the new outdoor section of this unit that we're installing doesn't fit where the old one goes, or is. You see, there's like some sort of like a wall kind of around the outside of the unit, kind of like make it so you can't see it. Right? And this wall is built out from the house, and it's cinder block and cement and rebar. So it's designed to stay, but it's got to go because physics will just not allow the new unit that's going in to coexist with that wall. My dad calls the client. Everything is cleared for demolition. It's okay. Yes, just make sure that air conditioner is working. We got you. Dad goes to the van, starts rooting around looking for things, and then I start to hear him curse louder and louder. God damn it! God damn it! I'm kind of looking at him. The sun's getting brighter. I'm still this pale, so I'm still feeling it like more and more every second. Dad makes a phone call to his partner. Lloyd, did you take the sledgehammers out of my van? Lloyd, yep. Oh, sure did. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it, Jed. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had him. Need him for a job. Thanks, Lloyd. Hangs up. And Dad's just sitting there fuming. He lights a cigarette as he thinks about what to do. I'm seeing all this. And again, it's getting hotter and hotter. And I start to think about all the logistics stuff that's going to get pushed back if we can't get this wall down. Because again, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no Lowe's, there's no Home Depot, there's no place to just go and buy a sledgehammer and come back and knock down the wall. And that crane and those other deliveries are on their way as we speak. What to do? So my dad's sitting there smoking, fuming. I'm sitting there, I'm just, feel like I gotta do something. So I kind of move him out of the way of the side of the van, What are you doing, boy? Just let me, and I go inside and I start looking for anything to get the job done. I don't know what I'm going to find. I mean, I know what's in the van, but I don't know what I'm going to find. And eventually, I come across a crowbar. Pick it up, feel its heft. Yep, that'll do it. Pull it out, slam the van door shut. Son, what are you doing? Dad's looking at me. I'm just kind of waving him off. And I go, and I take that crowbar to half of that wall. I was actually quite proud of myself. I was able to beat that thing down, the cinder block, the concrete, the rebar. I was able to beat it down, but I did it so that like the part of the wall that was attached firmly to the house, and because there was two sections, right, at a 90-degree angle, I just knocked down the part that was parallel to the house so the homeowner could build onto the section that remained if they wanted to. That came down, everything else got delivered, everything else after that went off without a hitch. Problem solved. Dad looked at me after I was done with that and said, "Son, you look like you could use a break." He wasn't angry. It wasn't anything other than telling me to take a break at that point. But now that wasn't the only time that I had to improvise and implement on a job site. It wasn't the only time that my dad ever had to improvise and implement. But that moment sticks out in my mind particularly. You know, in fact, that that particular day stuck out so clearly in my head. You know, when my dad got diagnosed with cancer, you know, and he knew that, you know, it was a terminal diagnosis, he asked the kids, "Hey, is there anything that y'all want, like, just to make sure that we're clear?" And there was only one thing that I wanted. This crowbar that I had modified. I still have it, as you can see. And it reminds me, whenever I see it, that there's a lot more utility in things than we first might think, especially when we're under pressure. It's a good reminder to know yourself and know your tools. But please remember that no matter what you've heard or what I've said, death comes for us all, and a closed mouth never gets fed. Take care of yourselves. We'll speak again soon.